What's up, my friends? I hope you're doing fantastic. Should I just vlog all the time like this, like a news reporter? I won't. I will say this is a pretty unique concept and a pretty genius concept by Rode. It's just the Rode Go. Just the Rode Go right in there. So it's like a wireless mic that you don't have to worry about like having a separate mic for. And you just throw that back over top and you got like a news reporter kit. It's genius. Thanks for being here. As always, I wanted to do something a little different with this vlog because I feel like I haven't had the chance to really just sit and talk to the camera for a while and be able to just kind of process some of the things that are going on right now and just how it's affecting my business and how it's affecting some other aspects of life as well. And if at any point you want to know any specific topics that I'm talking about, I will timestamp them all below so you can just jump to certain topics. But most importantly, I'd love to know your thoughts on any of the topics that I do talk about. My channel has always been about conversation and about just hearing your perspective on things too. So if at any given point you have insight or thoughts into anything that I talk about, pause the video, comment below, timestamp it if you can to make it easier for people to see what you're referencing. But I just think it would be a cool way to have a conversation. We are all going through some really interesting times. Obviously, we all know that, and whether you're a wedding cinematographer or you might just be a video production company and do stuff similar to what I do, and you might just be a freelancer and it's affecting you as well. Everyone's being affected by this whole coronavirus thing, and it's just interesting to hear how other people are dealing with it. So comment and tell me for sure as we're talking through this stuff. So one of the most common questions, obviously, that you guys have been asking is how has this been affecting my business? Because obviously we're all affected in different ways, but a lot of you obviously who have watched my journey and followed the different aspects of what's going on and the different staff I brought on and the growth we've had, no question, it has affected things in a big way. Now, the great thing, if you continue to listen through this conversation, is there are amazing things that are actually going to be coming out of this whole coronavirus thing that I'm incredibly grateful for, and I'm going to actually come out of it probably way stronger than ever before because of that. So I'm super thankful for that. But no question about it, this has affected things in a major way and has changed basically everything for how kind of we operate in the current circumstance. Here in Pennsylvania, we were issued the stay-at-home order, basically meaning like you can't do anything and all businesses are closed all the way through April the 30th, and then now they've just actually extended that to May the 8th. So for the last 6.5, 7 weeks, there has been nothing that we can physically do from an operations standpoint in terms of filming or spending time with clients or doing anything. We're literally required to just basically stay home whenever we can, and all we really have been able to do is just edit for our clients. Now, there are certain clients that we have that we do a lot of filming for on a regular basis, so we've been able to continue to do some editing for them even though we can't film. And then there have been a couple of other clients who are filming some of their own stuff at their homes or their locations, whatever they're happening, and they're sending us some of that footage and we're still editing it. But basically all the stuff in the way that we currently had it before is obviously entirely different. Some of our really big clients that spend a lot of money and a lot of time per month with us have obviously dropped their hours back significantly because if we can't film, there's obviously only so much that we can produce for them. So I totally understand that side of it. But what that means is just the honesty of the fact that, the reality, I should say, that we went from, having a certain amount of revenue with a certain amount of hours needed and a certain amount of employees needed to maintain those hours to probably a 60 to 70% drop in overall hours over the course of just a couple of weeks. So I had to make the very difficult decision, which is always tricky, but it's just part of it, of laying off people. So I laid off half of the employees that I had for me, and currently there's only me and 2 others basically remaining. I hate saying like that because that's not, obviously, I don't mean that in a mean way, but that's just where we're at. And some of my employees that I had to lay off had to make some interesting and difficult decisions to decide if they wanted to kind of wait around for this to all settle, or if they wanted to collect unemployment, or some of them decided to kind of just give up on this whole aspect of what they were doing and go back home and do things on their own and just kind of go back to the way they were doing things beforehand. So, a lot of people are affected by this. Some of the stuff is really unfortunate to me. It's a bummer because obviously things were going really, really well, and that is great, but things also change. I know some states are in an even more strict order that is affecting them even longer than what we're currently affected with. So all of us are dealing with it differently. Now, thankfully, in the United States, our government put together a massive, massive stimulus plan to be able to help continue to boost the economy and continue to help the businesses survive in a time that all the revenue was lost, because obviously, when you go from revenue being somewhere and then it drops 60-70%, you're basically screwed for a lot of companies. And so the government did all they could to put something in place as soon as possible. And one of the biggest things they put in place for a small business like myself was called a PPP loan. The PPP stands for Payroll Protection Plan, and the idea is keeping employees on payroll, keeping businesses surviving, the government basically giving you money to do that so that they don't have to go into unemployment. Thankfully, I was accepted for that loan very quickly right after it opened up, and I was able to get the money, and that was a tremendous, tremendous help for me, such a blessing, because a lot of the uncertainty I was facing was how long can I possibly last even my own self, because there's obviously only so much money coming in. The more interesting thing that happened is over the course of these 6 to 7 weeks, I have been forced, like all of us, to slow down more than ever before. And if you know me, if you follow my channel, if you're familiar with how I operate, I don't like slowing down very much. I kind of am always going full speed. I'm continuing to work on more and more things, and I always have more ideas, and I always put more and more things into place to try to give myself new things and new opportunities to do. That's how I've always been. That's how I built this business. That's how I continue to build business, is to just continue to hustle and just go crazy trying to just build new things. But because this has required me to slow down more than I ever have before, it really has given me a lot of time to actually just to think about how I've been doing things, and to think about how I want to do things coming out of this, and to just kind of process that in real time. I've had more time than ever to just sit and not have a lot of stuff to actually do that, required me to finish by a deadline. So it's made me start to think about, like, what things haven't I done in a while that I want to do more of, and what things, was I maybe working really hard on that aren't so important in this grand scheme of what I'm trying to do overall in life. And it's really caused me to second guess a lot of things that I was doing, including even building my business the way that I was doing it. We had a ton of growth in 2019 from when I started Scaling Creative till the end of it, and that was awesome. And we went from 1 employee to 6 or 7 people that were doing work, which was incredible. But like anything, there are downsides to scaling a business. There are downsides to trying to manage all those things and trying to continue to get more work, but then you have to hire the people and train the people to be able to make it happen. And so there were great things about building the business, and then there were sides of it that obviously weren't so great. And I went through a bunch of different people, and we're working with different things to try to figure out like how to make it work most efficiently. And I worked a lot on rebuilding efficiency, and that was all really, really good. But now that I've kind of reset and gone backwards to kind of a very small team and a very small amount of work that we're actually doing, there are definitely pieces of me that I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, do I want to rebuild everything to actually what it was before? Or do I want to kind of keep a small team and only do what we can manage and just raise rates as things happen and just kind of go in that direction? There's a huge part of me that loves building businesses and making them as big as possible, but there's also just a part of me that sometimes wonders if I go in that direction and continue to build and build and build, when does it eventually end? Like, when do I eventually get to a point where I'm satisfied enough that I can take a break and relax? And I, over the last year and a half, have been kind of talking to my wife and talking to my own self and realizing, like, I'm going to eventually build my business to a certain point where it can kind of self-sustain itself, and I can just relax a little bit and spend more time with family and spend more time doing some other things that I want to work on. And then this came about, and it instantly gave me all those things that I said I was looking to build, which were more time with family, more time to relax and to process things. And now it's making me really think, Like, I wanted more time with family. I wanted more time to spend on other things. And now that I have it, do I want to build business around that and build it around, I want to keep the things that I currently am passionate about and that time that I have, and only do as much as I can with Scaling Creative on the side. Over these last bunch of weeks, as you might have saw in my last video, I decided to start getting back into music a little bit. I started to record some music and work with some musician friends of mine and work with a brand new project that I'm excited to eventually announce to you guys in the coming weeks. But I've gotten so excited about that and the idea of what that could lead to in terms of just where my time goes, and doing more and more things with the church and doing more things with just people that I know, and realizing that if I go back into the exact way that I was doing things, where I was working 50, 60 hours a week for Scaling Creative and there wasn't any time anywhere else, I really can't do the music stuff because I really won't have the time to do it. The only way that I can continue to do this music that I have this new passion for and this new project is I have to be able to take some time out of Scaling Creative time to actually make music a priority in my life. Now, that is a really interesting thing for me to process in real time because, number one, it hasn't been something that I've been thinking about for probably 5 or 6 years. But now that I'm into it, now that we've recorded some songs, and now that we are launching this next phase of what we want to start doing, I'm really excited about it. I'm like pumped up about it. I'm more fired up than I've been in a while for a lot of things going on. And I don't want to stop those things. Like, I don't want to stop this music thing now at all. So if the economy opened back up tomorrow, I'd either have the option to take on all the work that we currently had before this happened, get to a point where I need to bring back on more and more people and 5 or 6 employees and get it all going. Or I decide that I don't want to do that and I want to only take on the workload that we can manage by ourselves. And my time is spent 60% of the time at Scaling Creative and 40% of the time doing these other things that I now have a passion to do. I don't think that I'm losing the passion for Scaling Creative. I think that I'm just realizing that I still have some passions that I want to pursue. And the problem is, all the time that I've spent on Scaling Creative have not actually allowed me to pursue some things that really obviously are a passion inside of me. As soon as we went into this quarantine and this stay-at-home order, I started going crazy, producing lots of content for myself, and I started this series called Quarantine Stories, where I was talking to all these people and creating podcasts and creating more content than ever before, and I was releasing 2 to 3 videos a day on different platforms and just putting lots of stuff out, and I was fired up about that. But it kind of quickly dwindled into this, like, I need to do something else because I only have so much that I can do during my day that is Scaling Creative, and so I need to take some of my other passions and start making things happen. So what does this all mean? To me, I think what it all means is just that there is still a passion inside of me to pursue some music stuff and to pursue creativity in ways that are not just Scaling Creative. And I still have really big plans for Scaling Creative. I have not lost my passion and continue to build a video production business because I love video, and my music project is actually going to have a massive amount of video a part of that. So none of that has changed. I think the only thing that has changed a little is that I realize there still are some unfinished things in my life from a music perspective. And I really feel like God's just calling me to this unique, different approach of what I want to do musically, and to just not entirely quit on the idea of doing some music stuff in my life. I feel like all the things that have led me up to this point in my life, which is playing music full time, moving to Arizona to lead worship and to get passionate about that, and then finding out that I decided I actually wanted to take video seriously, and then building this video business, but realizing there were still some passions left in music. It's all brought me to this unique place to do things that I haven't ever been able to do before. And I really feel like it would be silly for me to waste all the skills that I feel like I've acquired over this time and to not do something unique. And this is not about just me creating a music project so that I could actually pursue like being a famous musician again, because that's actually not at all what I feel going into this project. The idea is simply creating a creative outlet for me to do some things in a really unique way that in turn, once all of it is released and I continue to put more stuff out from that side, it actually continues to build overall brand and overall business for Scaling Creative and for some of the other things that I want to do. I've been passionate about music and audio and all these different things for a while, and this is kind of one of the coolest things that I feel like I've experienced in a while of just, man, this is all coming together in such a unique way that I'm just really excited about. Out of all the things that you may watch from my channel and gather from the content that I put out, I hope that what you gather the most is that you should always just continue to pursue what you're passionate about. I feel like so many times we can be inspired by different people and we get so inspired by them that we try to do everything to just be them, and we actually don't even necessarily do all the things that we just enjoy doing because we're just pursuing somebody else's dream. I need to continue to follow the passions and the journeys that I want to go on and to not just base what I do next on what other people are doing. I realized a long time ago in the very start of creating my YouTube channel in the first place that it's so much easier and more fun being yourself and trying to do what you want to do than it is trying to copy other people. The people that I see that get so burnt out with what they're doing in life is usually because they're trying so hard to pursue something that really isn't even naturally bringing them a lot of excitement and passion if it actually becomes pursued. And I just think there's a unique reason why all these things have come together in my life to make this side of it happen, and I want to go after it. So when I think about going back to what we're considering normal, when I think about going back to where things were before this whole thing happened, the answer is I don't think I'm going back, because I'm looking more forward to what the new normal is. And I hope you are too. What is your new normal? Comment below, send me a DM on any platform. Share this if you think it may be inspiring to other people. Appreciate you watching. Good to see you again.